Hi, GenderBlenders. Welcome to week 107. This week's question is, what would you allow to keep you from medically transitioning? What would be worth not transitioning for? And it says here, I just met an actor-singer that is sacrificing medically transitioning at the moment for fear of losing her dream career. This is Steffi, and this is one of those weighty questions to transition or not to transition, and what would get in the way. You know, I haven't seen any of the responses for this week because I'm recording this actually on Friday night. So I'm not sure that this is the one you see, but if you just heard this sentence, obviously it is. We have to define some things here. Medically transitioning. What is medically transitioning? What does that mean? Does it mean starting on hormones? Does it mean completing surgery? Does it mean some surgeries but not all? Could be any of those above. So, we do know that, some people will start transitioning through hormones and don't complete their surgery. For example, I know some female-to-male transgenders who really don't have any intention of trying to get the fake little thingy down there. And well, it's not really fake, it's what it is. But they don't want to get that because they don't think it looks right. So they don't want to do their surgery, having nothing to do with any other reason than that. And I know some male to female that don't consider the SRS creating a vagina to be important, and they don't do that just because they don't want to or can't afford it or whatever. So I guess that's an answer. What would keep you from medically transitioning if you can't afford it? Clearly. However, the context of the question was for fear of losing her dream career. So losing a dream career. A wise lady said that different doors can open and close due to our transition. And she's absolutely 100% right. Okay? You may change careers because of your transition. Some doors may open to you. Some opportunities might be presented themselves that you just don't want to pass up. And maybe some of those opportunities even interfere with the transition. We'll get into that. Early on, when I was about several months into my transition, producing videos on my channel and on GenderBlenders and things like that, I got an email from a fellow San Diegan who at that time was dealt with her dysphoria by occasionally cross-dressing. And I think we've all reported that that's really, really tough. That really doesn't get you there. But they didn't want to start on their hormones. She didn't want to start on hormones simply because it would affect, now I have to say the male gender, his voice. He had a nice deep voice, and his career, he loved music, and he was in a choir, and he was afraid it was going to affect his voice. A very real concern, because it certainly would have. So he chose to avoid his transition and deal with the dysphoria as best as he could. To me, that's actually harder than transitioning. I couldn't have done that. Then there's the Las Vegas example. One of the folks at work asked me if just a couple of weeks ago actually, so relatively recently, asked me if I saw a TV special about the Las Vegas girls. And they were interviewing them. And in particular, one said she had absolutely no intention of ever going for her SRS, not because she didn't want it, but because she would lose her value in Vegas because of the sexual content and so forth of the shows that she was in, and the shock value of, shall we say, doing what she does. So, that in that case, she purposely chose to not do her SRS, not now, not ever. Because the door opened for her, and she decided to go through it, and slammed another door behind her. Actors and actresses fall into the same kind of thing. Both male to female and female to male. I mean, if you do have a career or wish to develop a career, it's very interesting. Male to females tend to be very beautiful. Females to males tend to be very masculine. And so we, in some sense, tend to epitomize our chosen gender. So guess what? We now have a demand in an industry that never would have happened before. Me? What would be worth not transitioning for? Not doing hormones? Not a chance in the world. Nothing. Because you see, I was dying. And you see, that saved my life. And you see, the understanding that I was a woman. There's nothing that would have stopped me. There is just nothing that would have stopped me. SRS? I think I reported that SRS really isn't mandatory. It's more icing on the cake. Well, after going through SRS, I realized just how important that step was to me. And probably towards a lot of us transgenders. It was way more important than I had valued it. But I didn't realize its value until I actually achieved it. It took that for me to understand how important that step was. I just didn't understand. So in hindsight, hindsight is 20/20. No one wears glasses like this. Hindsight's 20/20. But I didn't realize how important it was. And like I said, I can't think of anything now in hindsight that would force or have me consider not doing that transition. Money, of course, is one issue. But, folks, I'm not rich, but I found the money to get my SRS. And, I think one of the things that we have to figure out at some point in time is what's important to us. And those doors are going to open, those doors are going to close. What's important to you is what's important to you, folks. So that's what's going to determine what is going to allow or prevent you from doing your medical transition. So that's my take for this week. I hope it was entertaining. Until next week, this is Steffi saying bye-bye, everyone.